Yeah, wake the hell up. Charts ain't waiting and neither am I. It's BC Pork Corp, and this is Good Morning Crypto. Let's run it. Good morning to the streets, to the streets, to the grind. I ain't sipping no latte, I'm sipping on time. Woke up with the market in a headlock grip. See the wick break out, that's my exit flip. Digital hustle, I don't sleep much. Cold wallet thick like it just did crunch. Fiat crashing, I just laugh in the mirror. Good morning truth, now the picture get clearer. Yeah, I'm up before sunrise, no snooze on my plays. Whales still dreaming, I'm setting my trays. I ain't here for likes, I ain't here for clout. I'm here for that check when the trend breaks out. I spit blocks, hash rates, having dates. Got alpha in my veins, no time for fakes. SEC lurking, but I move like a ghost. Mixing TA and game, call me the host. This my show, this my tone, this my throne. Good morning crypto, I stand alone. Good morning to the streets, to the charts, to the grind. I ain't sipping no latte, I'm sipping on time. Woke up with the market in a headlock grip. See the wick break out, that's my exit flip. Digital hustle, I don't sleep much. Cold wallet thick like it just did crunch. Fiat crashing, I just laugh in the mirror. Good morning truth, now the picture get clearer. Perpetual swinging, I'm a beast with the size. TA tight like the laces I tie. MACD crossing, I'm pressing that go. And my fib line stretching like it's crypto dope. Ain't no banker ever taught me this wealth. I learned from red days, had to fight for myself. Now I'm dropping fire before the coffee drip. Crypto cooking on its breakfast shift. Every candle's a warning, every flash a test. But I lace up my plays and I trade like the best. We're moons made for legends, not snoozers and sheep. This for the wolves who watch charts while they eat. This for the ones who said crypto's a scam. Now I'm paying my bills with a cold wallet jam. Salute to the grinder, salute to the bold. Good morning to those who ain't buying what they sold. Good morning to the streets, to the charts, to the grind. I ain't sipping no latte, I'm sipping on time. Woke up with the market in a headlock grip. See the wick break out, that's my exit flip. Digital hustle, I don't sleep much. Cold wallet thick like it just did crunch. Fiat crashing, I just laugh in the mirror. Good morning truth, now the picture get clearer. Wake up, read the charts, read the game, then run it. Good morning crypto, Pork Corp out. Wake up, read the charts, read the game, then run it. Good morning crypto, Pork Corp out.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours of the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I'm going to be talking about some headlines that I didn't get to talk about last week because, I was sick and I was out. So I got a big headline coming from Bank of America that I really wanted to touch on last week, but never got the chance to. So we'll be talking about that today. And then we'll be talking a little bit about some Ethereum. Kind of talking about some revenue. They did see a lower revenue. There has been a lot of worries about that on some sides of the crypto space, and then other people say it is completely fine. So we will dive into that one and kind of some of the technology of the cryptocurrency, Ethereum, and we'll bring up some other blockchains as well to see dips in revenue is not always the biggest deal. But before we get to all of that, let's get you prepped for some success today. You know what I got pulled up in the background. It is that stock heat map. So let's dive on in. We are seeing a little bit of a mixed bag this morning. Quite neutral, though, in most of these assets this morning. We are looking a little bit to the downside on Apple, down 0.01%. We've got Nvidia sitting up 0.41%. We've got Berkshire Hathaway down 0.13. We've got Amazon sitting up 0.44. Eli Lilly sitting up 0.11. We've got ExxonMobil looking to the upside this morning, 0.69%. We've got Tesla up 1.2%. P&G sitting to the downside, 0.22% this morning. We've got Microsoft sitting up 1.05%. Google up 0.17%, and Meta up 0.27 this morning. Hopping over to the crypto sides, we're looking extremely green on these crypto bubbles. Nothing too crazy. We do have Doge up 7.6% and Hype up 7.3%, but for the most part, everything's sitting around that 2% towards the upside. Let's get on down to this. We've got Bitcoin up 0.8%. We've got Ethereum up 0.4%. XRP taking a spot back in the market cap from a stable coin. It is now sitting in that number 3 market cap with 3.2% towards the upside. BNB up 0.05, Solana up 3.3, Doge maintaining that number 8 spot, sitting up 7.6. We've got Tron up 1.4, Cardano up 2.4. We've got Chainlink up 2.7, Hyperliquid up 7.3% as it takes a spot in that market cap. We've got Sui up 2.1%, Bitcoin Cash sitting down 0.5% this morning, Stellar Lumens up 3%. We've got Avalanche up 3.1%, HBAR sitting up 1.4%, and Leo token taking that number 19 position in the market cap from Litecoin as it sits up 0.3%, and Litecoin sitting down 0.3%. Let's hop over to those fear and greed meters because we're looking pretty neutral on this stock side of things. No change from Friday, not too unexpected as we've been remaining a little bit neutral. Oh, that was the crypto side of things. Sitting neutral, 51 after a dip into some fear. So let's hop over to that liquidation heat map because we do have some liquidity on both sides of us on this 24-hour chart. Looking at 110,200 for the bottom side, and the top side looking like our hotspots coming in at 112,300. We'll take a look at some of those spots on the chart, and we do have some more liquidity towards the upside if you're looking at this higher term time frame. This 3-day has quite a bit of liquidity directly above us at that 112,300. Looks like we're trying to grab some of that right now. Taking a look at that 1 week, we do have a little more liquidity towards the top side, but we do have a little bit of a hotspot directly underneath us at $109,000. We'll kind of have to see if we make that move back towards the downside if we aren't able to hold some key levels that are directly above us. We do have this hotspot directly above us, which is a very broad range of liquidity starting at 113,400 and ranging all the way up to 114,200. There's another little hotspot directly above that. Zooming on out to that 2 week, you can see that a little bit better. And if it would load faster, there we go. We got that top side liquidity really coming in at 113,600 all the way up to 114,300 there. So a very broad range for a top side grab of liquidity if we can get back up to some of those key levels we will talk about in just a second. All right, let's pull up that economic calendar because we do have some data coming out this week. Today is not going to be our really hot data day. Scrolling on down, we do have some 3-month and 6-month bill auctions. Scrolling on down a little bit further, getting into some Tuesday data. We got non-farm payrolls annual revision. This is going to be a biggie. Make sure you are watching that data drop on Tuesday. You might get some crazy volatility. That is going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Scrolling on down, this is going to be my big focus on the week. We do have Wednesday PPI data coming out. That's your Fed's preferred metric when talking about interest rate hikes or interest rate cuts. I will be focusing on this quite heavily. We did have one of the hottest PPI drops that we had seen in years come out last month. So this time I'm going to be focusing on that quite heavily. You can see prior was 0.9% on that month over month. We had 3.7% on that year over year. Looking like the forecast has come down a little bit, but that's still on top of this massive increase. So definitely not very positive. PPI month over month without the core also forecasted at that 0.3%, 3.3 holding steady on that forecast for the year over year, but definitely looking like you could come out a little bit hot. So focus on tomorrow's data drop for the non-farm payrolls revision and the PPI data on Wednesday. Before we get too much further into that, let's pull up that Bitcoin chart. Say good morning to the people in the chat. We've got several people in here bright and early. You know Jesse's first in that chat. Like always, good morning to you, sir. We got Trade Intuition in here bright and early. He said he might be watching with his eyes closed because he needs a little more sleep. If you got those bingo bangos and you're a Piper Academy member, go ahead and throw those bingo bangos in the chat. Let's see who else we got in here bright and early. We've got Melissa. Good morning to you, madam. Hope you're having a great morning so far. She said she could use a little more sleep as well. So maybe after you get prepped for some success, you can take a little bit of a nap before Alexo Crypto starts. Let's see who else we got in here this morning. We've got Caliphant in here. Good morning to you. She asked if I was feeling better. That's why I missed last week. I'm feeling 1,000% better. So definitely ready to get some stuff done this week. Let's see who else we got in here. We've got Jay Violet in here. Good evening to you in Australia. Hope you had a great day. Let's see who else. Anyone else this morning? We got Dutchy in the chat. Good morning to you. Let's see. We got Jay in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. And K Diggity sliding in at the very end. Good morning to you. If y'all have any alts in that top 20 that you would like me to take a look at this morning, go ahead, throw those in the chat. We'll be trying to take a trade. This morning, we've got a 90% vote for a pump trade. So we will take a look at some of these assets, see what we'd like to look at for a trade. Chainlink, and we can take a look at Link and ADA for a potential trade. I know you had a question about MSTR, Caliphant. If you could retype that out for me, and I will answer that a little bit later. MSTR, so I don't forget about that one. All right, let's take a look at this Bitcoin chart. Let's zoom this back on out to that higher term time frame. We do have the weekly still playing out a little bit to some of that downside movement, but we are starting to see just a little bit of some sideways momentum coming in on that MACD. Let me get that zoomed out a little bit better so you can really get that higher term time frame look here. As you can see, with this demonstration tool pulled up, we've got a little bit of sideways momentum coming in on that MACD. We are getting that same sideways momentum coming in on the prime oscillator as well, and your money flow trying to make its way back into some green money flows here on the weekly. We'll have to watch this one quite closely as we're getting back up to some key levels. Really want to hold some of those and make that next leg towards the upside. I've talked about that upside target for this next leg, looking at that $132,000 range. If we can get some of that green money flow coming back in on the weekly, you can see we got some of that green money flow for this last pump towards the upside. That's normally when you see those bigger moves towards the upside, is when you get that green money flow on the weekly. So pay attention to some of that higher term time frame. Sometimes we will need to get back above this $119,000 range to really see that strength towards the upside coming back in. Let's get that zoomed on in. Take a look at this daily time frame. Zoom it on in a little bit better. That way you can see it. There we go. We are making our way back up to that 111,800. We have talked about that being an area we need to hold as some support if we really want to get back up towards our CME gap here. We do have this daily looking a little bit nice as we are getting that break of our MACD line above our indicator line, starting to print those green candles here on our histogram, and that prime oscillator getting that curvature back towards the upside this morning. We are seeing our money flow barely in the red here, so we will need to watch that money flow here on that daily as well as we approach the CME gap and the top side of our golden pocket coming in at 114,200 for that golden pocket top side. That is going to be an area where we could potentially see some resistance. We really want to see this CME gap be closed. It has been resistance every single time that we get to it. So you can see that 113,500 is an area of some resistance. We've rejected off of it here, and we've rejected off of it here as well. So that is that area for resistance to kind of watch for this morning. If we can get into this, we do have that midline coming in at 115,200. So a little bit of an area to watch for some resistance towards the top side there. Getting that 4 hour pulled up, you can kind of see that 4 hour also looking pretty nice here. As you can see, we've got that move back above 111,800. That's that area we have talked about quite drastically for a few weeks now. We do have this higher highs being made and some higher lows being made as well. So really waiting to see if this comes in at that resistance area of our CME gap to make that actual higher high. I would like to see that golden pocket top side really get hit at 114,300. You do have this 4 hour on your MACD looking kind of nice for some continuation towards the upside as your MACD lines are breaking above our indicator line there, and that prime oscillator is also getting that curvature back up. But we do have some bearish divergences on the 4 hour. So if we do see that resistance coming on in at that 114,300 area, I would watch for that bearish divergence to really play out. Would want to see us hold up that 108,200 area if that bearish divergence plays out on the 4 hour. Taking a look at the 1 hour here, we are looking kind of toppy here on the prime oscillator, but that MACD really getting some nice movement towards the upside here. We are breaking above that indicator line with some strength. Your money flows trying to get that move into the green here. So really watch for that money flow here on that 1 hour this morning. We are getting some nice green candles this morning. So looking like you can at least continue towards the upside a little bit. We do have that 15-minute though, looking a little bit overheated this morning as you are starting to see some red money flow, but could very easily get that back into some green. We are above 111,800, looking like we got that nice strong rejection bounce above. retested on it and then continuing towards the upside. Your prime oscillator is a little overheated here, as you do see that reversal signal. Your prime oscillator sitting in the red but getting some curvature back towards the upside, and that MACD also looking a little bit overheated here. So to see a little bit of some pullback, I do have an area marked out for a short-term bounce at 111,300. That'd be that area to kind of watch for this morning if we do get some pullback, and then a bounce back up and continuing towards the upside there. All right, we had a link in ADA. Kellefin's asking, do you think MSTR will make a comeback? I'm holding a little bit of the stock. That's a very good question. Let me come back to that a little bit later in the show. I do have some thoughts on MSTR, and I've talked about that quite heavily. So before we get into all of that, though, let's take a look at Link and ADA, and then we'll see which of these assets we'd like to take a trade on this morning, and then we'll get into some of that news here. We do have Link under the 382 here. Let's take a look at that daily time frame. We've got this fair value gap directly above us, which is looking like a little bit of some resistance. We do have this 382 to get back above, and we are getting that nice curvature here on the MACD and the prime oscillator as well. Waiting on some volume to come on in here. We do have this 1 hour looking kind of nice, nice for some continuation on the MACD. But we do have these bearish divergences, which have stacked up here on the hourly, kind of like they were stacked up on the hourly on the 4 hour on Bitcoin. Let's see. I'm careful taking advice from people who don't know anything. Oh, Dutchy trying to cause some drama in the chat this morning. Yeah. Well, it depends on who you listen to. You know, there are a lot of people that like MSTR, but I am not one of those people. So I think their strategy is extremely risky, and I've talked about that in depth here on Good Morning Crypto and on my own show, Wall Street Weekly. They're extremely over leveraged, and they've been seeing some downside when Bitcoin was seeing upsides because of their entry points. So we'll take a look at that chart here in a little bit. The 15-minute also looking a little bit toppy here, getting a little bit of some rollover on that prime oscillator, but MACD looking like it can continue towards the upside here if you get that money flow coming back in. So would like to see a little bit of resistance at that 382 to cool off that, and then drop back down, at least retest 2272, and then continue on up to our fair value gap here, which has been some resistance at $23.95. So this one looking kind of nice on that higher term time frame. Let's take a look at the 4 hour there. 4 hour can really get that continuation. So Link looking decent for an upside trade. Let's get ADA pulled on up here. ADA, all right here. ADA holding that 50% quite nicely after we drop below 88 cents. That 382 looking like a little bit of some resistance. 4 hour does look a little bit toppy here. Let's see what that daily is looking like, though. Daily looking like you could see some continuation towards the upside there. Getting that nice bounce off of the 50% there. Would really need to get above 88 cents and hold that with some strength. MACD looking kind of nice, getting that curvature, waiting to break back above our 0 line and that indicator line. Prime oscillator also getting that curvature back up. Let's take a look at the 1 hour there. See if it's a little bit toppy. 1 hour looking a little bit toppy there. We could get that dip back down, at least hold the highs from here, coming at 84 cents if we get a little bit of some pullback this morning. So 15-minute also looking a little bit toppy, could get that pullback to 84 cents. So that'd be that area I'd really want to enter. Could still enter right now and make that continued move towards the upside there. So let me get that poll started. We got 91% voting for a pump there. Let me end that poll. We got ADA, Link, and Bitcoin that we can take a trade in. So let's see. Bitcoin. Let's see. ADA or link. Y'all let me know, and we will get back to that in just a little bit. All right, let's hop over to some of those news articles that we were looking at this morning. Let me get that pulled on up there. All right, we had this article that we were taking a look at last week. It was a very big article that I don't think got touched on by anyone. So Fed cutting rates in September would be a policy mistake, warns Bank of America. Bank of America reportedly warned on Wednesday that if the Federal Reserve rushes to cut interest rates in September, it would be a policy mistake based on current macroeconomic data, according to a report by CNBC. Bank of America economist Claudio Irigoyen said in a recent note that there is a supply-driven slowdown in the labor market and inflation remains above the central bank's 2% target. Irigoyen nailed it, highlighted that a rate cut based on these factors is unwarranted. Scroll on down. I guess that was just the short of it. So, there is a lot of concern on that when you are seeing inflation be a little bit sticky, and the only reason that you're going to be cutting rates is to help your labor market. It does kind of lead to some stickiness down the road. Yes, in the short term, you're going to see some upside. Your labor markets are not going to be the first thing that's helped. Normally, when you see those federal interest rate cuts and you have cheaper borrowing power, it gets propped up in other areas. You're seeing the producer side will get a little bit of some benefits, but a lot of this is just going to be more debt to hold up your system. And in the short term, a little bit beneficial, but in the long term will increase that producer price and cause more inflation. And a little bit later down the road, if you continue down those rate cuts, then you could see the labor market get some strength. But the first thing that you're going to see is not going to be hiring. That is a little bit later down the road as companies wait to kind of see if inflation is still going to be sticky. You will kind of have to watch as we go forward if this leads to a little bit of a recession, because normally after you see that interest rate cut, you see that those bond markets recorrecting, that flip back of your 10 and your 2 year, you see a little bit of a recession. We did get a flip back of our 10 and our 2, and it kind of headed back in the wrong direction. That could recorrect the bond market, and you would kind of have to watch to see if that ends up leading to some stickier inflation, which has already been extremely sticky after a massive PPI print the other month as well. So a lot of these factors are not leading to beneficial short term of a rate cut. You do see a little bit of some hopium. You will see some short-term benefits in your risk on assets, but over the long term, in the next year to 2 years, could not be extremely beneficial. I know Trump said by 2027 things could be positive. We'll kind of have to watch that quite closely because only so much debt can prop up your systems. We did have this one as well that we wanted to take a look at. We got JR in the chat. Good morning. Let's see what we got on this news article. Ethereum metrics are telling two very different stories right now. Scrolling on down. A Messari analyst sparked a heated debate over the weekend after declaring Ethereum is dying as a network. Revenue declined in August. In an X post on Saturday, Messari research manager AJC stated that Ethereum's fundamentals are collapsing as Ethereum revenues from fees in August was $39.2 million, down over 40% year over year and approximately 20% month over month. Ethereum is dying. Despite ETH reaching new all-time highs in August, Ethereum revenues in August was $39.2 million. To put that into perspective, down 75% from August 23, down 40% from August 24, fourth lowest monthly revenue since January 21. Ethereum's fundamentals are collapsing, but .eths don't care so long as the price goes up. But many who read the post disagreed, pointing out Ethereum's rising metrics, app revenue, stablecoin supply, and continued L2 scaling and distinction between Ethereum being a commodity rather than a tech stock, meaning that it shouldn't be valued based on revenue. A large part of Ethereum's fall in revenue has come as a result of the Dangkun upgrade in March of 2024, which lowered transaction fees for Layer 2 scaling networks, using it as a base layer to post transactions. Speaking to Cointelegraph, Henrik Anderson, Chief Investment Officer of investment firm Apollo Crypto, said it is unlikely Ethereum is dying because data from Ethereum's L2 analytic tools GrowPy shows it is still a vibrant ecosystem with stablecoin supply, throughput, and active addresses are at or close to all-time highs. I definitely have to agree that Ethereum is not dying there. Revenue is the smallest metric to really take a look at. Revenue being pulled in is normally done off of your validators, and having your validators pulling in revenue is not how you really gauge whether a blockchain is dying or not. You have Ethereum and Ethereum L2s at all-time highs for active wallet addresses, and a lot of movement behind those as well. Although I'm not the biggest fan of Ethereum, it is number 2. It has a lot of technology built on top of it, and I don't think Ethereum is going anywhere anytime soon. To have revenues dropping is a big part of that next push of Ethereum. There was a big barrier to entry because if you wanted to send $100 on Ethereum, it would have costed you like $35. And that's why L2s have picked up quite a bit, and they've lowered those costs for L2s as well. It makes Ethereum a lot cheaper to use, and it kind of negates a lot of those problems that people were complaining about on Ethereum. I'm no Ethereum fanboy, but I don't think it's dying, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. If you disagree with that, let me know in the chat. If you kind of agree and you don't think Ethereum's dying just because its revenue is down, and you think other metrics make up the strength of a blockchain, let me know in the chat as well. Let's see what we got. Jesse, of course, ETH to 0. I say ETH to 0 for other reasons, just because I don't like the Ethereum Foundation, but on principle, it is a very strong blockchain. It is that number 2 space. You have TradFi really leaning into it, which I don't think is necessarily a positive for crypto when you're talking about the decentralized aspect. But if you're talking about a pushback into the crypto sector, it is a very strong proponent that TradFi is backing it, and I do think we will have to watch down the road to see if we do get that decentralization back into the crypto space. But Ethereum being backed by TradFi is a very, very strong push towards that strength of Ethereum. Not a fanboy, like I said, but it does have some strong tech built on top of it, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. All right, we had MSTR that we were supposed to take a look at here, so let's get that one pulled on up. We had MSTR strategy, and we will get this zoomed on out there. I know you wanted to take a look at that higher term time frame. It is below the 1618 there, and your question was if MSTR could make some moves back towards the upside there. Let me get that question pulled back up. You think MSTR will make a comeback? I'm holding a little bit of the stock. Well, let's take a look at this chart here, and then we'll compare it to Bitcoin. we are making some higher lows. We are sitting directly on top of a trend line. Let's get that pulled on up here. We do have this trend line that we are maintaining quite nicely here. Let me make sure that is on the dot there. There we go. You do see that 1618 coming in as a little bit of some resistance on your higher term time frame, but this daily looking a little bit nice for a pushback towards the upside. My thoughts, if you do get some movements towards the upside, you get back to that 2618 coming in at $514. You might want to start taking a little bit of some profits there, because things are not overwhelmingly positive for MSTR as he continues to really raise those entry prices on Bitcoin, and then he tries to raise a little more capital. His raises of capital have been decreasing quite drastically. You might see that change with an interest rate cut, but as we get into that bear market and Bitcoin starts making those lower highs and lower lows on the macro, that's when you're really going to see MSTR struggle. And we do have some areas to kind of keep our eye out for in a bear market, talking about $100. That's a nice little base area to watch for. That was the highs and the lows from the sideways consolidation range. You have been seeing MSTR struggle just a little bit to make new all-time highs like Bitcoin was. You had this all-time high made in November of 24, and since then it has just slowly consolidated and struggled to really get above the highs at $450. So we'll kind of have to watch to see if this 1618 at $350 at $57 will be our resistance area again, allow for a little more cool off, and then see if we can get that continued strength here, because in the shorter term time frame here, we are in a little bit of a downtrend. If we do break this support area, that would be quite nasty for MSTR. So I would look to at least hold our trend line here, really try to get back above that 1618, which is a resistance area, and then try to make our way back up to $457. Let's get that horizontal pulled on up. Do we have any other alt requests to really take a look at? There we go. That's going to be our high time resistance for MSTR. You can kind of see we are making some lower highs and lower lows here, but this lower low is a little bit less low than this move down. So a little bit of some consolidation, getting that nice bounce off of our support line. You do have several bullish divergences stacked up here on the 4-hour. Money flow still in the red, but you did get this bottom seeker here, so you could see that move back towards the upside. Will depend a little bit on that Bitcoin price as well. If Bitcoin can get up to that upside target I was talking about, $132,000, you could really make that move back towards the upside here. You have a very strong resistance area directly above that, coming in at that 500 and let's see, 513. That's kind of close to where you see those candle bodies. That real all-time high for MSTR, 542. So if we start getting back up to those levels, I wouldn't blame you for taking some profits, especially if that comes in as resistance all over again, and then you end up riding this all the way back down, especially since we're very, very close to the end of that Bitcoin cycle, unless you're subscribing to that super cycle that I've heard talked about all over in the content creator space. Me personally, I'm not subscribing to that super cycle. We aren't really seeing the macroeconomic signs that we could get that super cycle. All right, looking like Link is winning at 45% of that vote. So we can take a look back at that link and see where we'd like to enter that trade and what those upside targets might be. Let's see, we got Curtis Hill in the chat. Good morning to you. There was MSTR for you, Caliphant. Hopefully that answered a few of your questions there. Let's see. We got a few requests from JR. Not looking like anything too crazy on those requests this morning. JR, I like those requests. We had XRP. We already took a look at ADA, so you will have to scroll back that show and take a look at that. We got AVAX to take a look at as well. AVAX. And we will skip on VVV and ADA. We have any other alt requests from the viewers. We got about 10 minutes. I can blast through XRP and AVAX real quick, and then we'll have to take that trade. So hopefully we can see something interesting on those. Let's hop over to our altcoin page and scroll on down, get XRP pulled on up. We did talk about some lower levels for XRP. I was wanting to see that 382, the 236 held. My bad on that one. The 236, we got back down to that 236, and we got some nice bouncing action off of it. We do have a little bit of an area directly above us to kind of watch for us to get above. That's going to be $2.95. But this daily time frame looking a little bit nice here. Let's get that zoomed on out a little bit further so you can get that full picture on XRP. You are getting that nice break towards the upside of our indicator line here on the MACD. Prime oscillator getting that curvature back up as well. Your volume's a little bit low here, so would really like to see us get above 295. Hold that as some support, and then we've got 319 to contend with above that. Let's zoom this on in, see what that shorter term time frame is really looking like here. We got that 1 hour with some nice pushes back up towards our resistance at 295 here. And we'll kind of have to see, because that hourly is looking a little bit toppy here. Could get a little bit of some pullback. You have some overbought signals flashing. Not really seeing a reversal signal flash just yet, but we do have some resistance directly above us at that 295. Could see a little bit of a pullback and retest 288 there. I did have a buddy that loves XRP, and I told him about these lower levels. He was like, I don't know if we get down there. And we got down there, and he was like, well, thanks for telling me about those levels, because I had limit orders set. And he got in down at that 278 level, which is where we got some nice strong bouncing to this continuation towards the upside here. So I would look to come back down just a little bit, retest 288, and then continue on towards the upside there. So that'd be that area to really watch for on XRP. 15-minute in the morning, also looking a little bit toppy here, but you are getting that curvature back towards the upside, and MACD starting to look a little bit toppy as well. So that'd be that area to kind of watch for. That 288 area would be that area I'd really want to see held as some support if we do get a little bit of some pullback there. Targets toward the upside in the short term, you could see that $3.02 coming back into play on XRP. AVAX, let's get that pulled up real quick, and then we can take a look at Link and see how we want to play that trade this morning. All right, AVAX getting that nice little bounce off of 2257. That was an area that we had talked about, and then we got that move up to 2630. That has been our top side and bottom side of a little bit of a sideways range here. We did get that nice move back towards the upside, holding the midline of that quite nicely over the weekend. Got that nice move off of it, and we're really looking to $26.30 all over again. This is some nice sideways consolidation range. You are starting to make those higher highs. You are seeing that just really flat top here. So if we can continue on towards the upside there, really get that break above 2630, then that upside target I'd really keep my eye on for AVAX is going to be this golden pocket and $30.40. So a nice strong area towards the upside. Daily is starting to look looking a little bit nice. You are getting that curvature back towards the upside there on the prime oscillator. MACD also getting that curvature back towards the upside here. Really waiting to see if we can get that strong money flow coming on in, because 2630 2630 is going to be that resistance area that we could struggle with just a little bit here. Hourly looking a little bit toppy here. You are starting to see some reversal signals starting to flash here as we move a little bit sideways on top of 2420. I would like to see us get back up to that 2630, but to do so we might need a little bit of some cool off here. We would get that nice test of the highs of this range directly on top of 2420, and we're waiting to see if we can get above 25, that 2560. That's the highs from around here. So we are looking like we're seeing that nice little retest on top of those highs there, and we do have some resistance directly above us. So waiting to see kind of if we can get above this little range here, and then we could make that move back towards the upside and 2630. But if we do see a little bit of some pullback, 2420 is that strong area to really watch for. Let's see what we're looking like on the 15-minute and what the morning might be bringing our way here. 15-minute also looking a little bit toppy. Got a lot of reversal signals that have started flashing on this prime oscillator. So if we do see that pullback, looking back to these highs here, about $25 on the dot will be that area to kind of watch for, and then maybe see some continuation towards the upside. We will kind of have to see how far of a pullback we get on that. Looks like we got a two-way tie on that poll, ADA and Link. All right, let's see what people want to do on that. So ADA or Link? ADA or Link? Y'all let me know, and then we will make that trade. All right, let's see. We got DDT in the chat. Good morning to you. AVAX has been looking interesting. Yes, it is extremely consolidated. So not a bad little move towards the upside if it can break out of that consolidation range. Weekly looking a little bit toppy, but not really too much to worry about if you can get back above that 2630 range. We are kind of seeing that MACD crossing that zero line there. Daily also looking a little bit nice as you are getting that curvature on the MACD there. So really nice consolidation range here. We did sweep liquidity, sweep liquidity, sweep liquidity, and we've really struggled to get above 2630. So if we can get above 2630, then you do have a lot of upside targets to watch for. Golden pocket coming in as that first one, and then you've got a CME, a fair value gap coming in at the 50% line on our fibs, coming at $37. So that'd be that next area to really watch for. All right, looking like Link is winning so far, 70%. Looks like we got 7 votes. We do have a few more watchers, so get in there. Really let me know which one we'd like to take a trade on, ADA or Link. Curtis Hill, I'll take some sloppy. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I stopped. No, no, I did not. Y'all, some absolute degens. Let's see. I'll flip ETH when Sol ETH is stronger. Not a bad move there. I'm in business of making money. I'll hold what makes me money. I think ETH is still rising, says Kelefant. Yeah, I don't personally hold ETH. I put my money behind things that I actually believe in, and there's so many spots to really make money in the space that I can vote with my dollar. I like Bitcoin, been holding Bitcoin, and I'm back to some stocks because stocks have been making me a lot more money than crypto has recently. So let's see. Looking like Link is going to win that. We got 11 votes on that. So let's get that Link trade pulled up, see what we might be targeting on that. So we did have Link getting some nice moves back towards the upside there. We do have a little bit of a resistance area to watch for. Daily getting that curvature. So let's see what the 4 hour getting that curvature back towards the upside there as well. Let's see. We did have the hourly looking a little bit toppy there. So Let's see, what was that area we would like to enter on? We could get that pullback down to about 22.82 and then continue on towards the upside with that. So let's see what the 15 minute looking a little bit toppy. All right, so I will set a limit order for 22.80, and then we will target the top side of that fair value gap at 23.93. And I will get that done at the end of the show. BC is better man than me, said Calvin. Well, I'm not so sure about that. I'm just extremely picky with where I put my money, because there's so many places to put your money, and I like to vote with my dollar. I'm a very big proponent of where you put your money really matters, and just more than making you money. It really matters, and what you push for in your economies. So that's kind of my thoughts. Voting with your dollar is extremely important. You put your money in the places that you want to see flourish and what you'd like to see those other blockchains really adopt. So if you want to see a blockchain to really adopt what Solana has, if you put your money in Solana and Solana gets that move towards the upside, it really shows that strength there, then that's what you're going to see other blockchains really adopt. If you put your money in ADA and ADA is looking really strong, other blockchains will start to adopt what ADA is very good at. So voting with your dollar is a little bit important, but it is 5:31. Time to head over to that morning motivational video. Make sure to tune into the rest of the shows here on the Piper Academy. We'll get that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's a great place to get that breakdown of the data. We got a lot of data important data coming out this week. So make sure to tune on in this morning, Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday going to be those very heavy data drop days. So 10 a.m. Eastern time, Piper going to give you that breakdown. We also got Trading with OC at 8 p.m. Another great place to really get some information on trading strategies to build up your strategy and just to have some fun. So until tomorrow, I will see you in the chats. Make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.